Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Savy, and this week on the show, Montreal qualified for the playoffs with still 4 games remaining on the season. Section 132 was rocking and bouncing again, and the women national team perfect in Australia. All of that and a lot more on episode 99 of The Ball is Round. So we're back to full team as we welcome Hady Rafael from vacations. Feeling relaxed, my friend?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It was nice. It was nice. Good vacation. Marseille winning every game. Benfica at Estadio da Luz winning in Champions League. Yeah, man. What do you want more?
I know. And Eve, you good?
I'm very good, thank you.
Fantastic. Well, of course, with what happened on Friday, I think we're all good, right, guys?
Yeah.
Definitely,
Great game.
100%.
Oh, man. So let's jump right into it, guys, because there's really a lot to talk about on this episode. We had a lot of questions too, so that's cool, but that's a lot to talk. So, Montreal against Columbus at Stade Saputo, only 1 point was what Montreal needed in order to qualify for the first round of the playoffs since for the first time since 2016. There was a real buzz in the city as the stadium was once again touted to be full and rocking. Wilfred Nassi's men had a tough task on their hands, though, as the crew were undefeated since the 21st of May, bar one game, our 2-1 comeback victory in Ohio back at the start of August. Columbus flew into Montreal with a record of 1 win and 4 draws in their last 5. On our behalf, it was starting to become difficult to find new superlatives to describe Montreal's season. After dropping 1 at home against Red Bull, the boys gave a superb effort in Toronto last Sunday, putting Montreal a draw away from the promised land. We came into this game on 52 points, having won 4 and lost 1 in our last 5. It would be very interesting to see how Wilfred Nancy would attack this game, knowing that a point would be enough and that a midweek game was just around the corner. So the coach went with Pantemis in goal, from right to left in defense, Johnston, Waterman, Camacho, Miller, and Chouanière. In midfield, Piet Wanyama and Mihailovic, and up front, Mason Toy and Romel Kyoto. Yves, did you have the feeling that the coaching staff was making a statement, putting such a strong team for the game that would qualify us directly to the playoffs?
Yeah, very much. Obviously, Montreal, I know that we kind of debated, you and I, last week, Sam. We thought, oh, maybe because there might have been some conditions. I totally forgot, by the way, that Cincinnati was playing midweek when I was trying to do all my math. So my time I wasted on my math, then I kicked myself even harder come Wednesday. But nonetheless, we thought because there might be some extra circumstances involved in qualification, we had kind of pushed it to, they should qualify Tuesday, certainly.
Chicago,
versus the Fire. Yeah. Who are obviously lower in the standings and so on and so forth, compared to the Crew, who, like you said, boasted a really strong record for their past several matches coming in, bar the one loss to Montreal, even though they've just drawn matches ad infinitum.
Right, yeah.
I think that is absolutely important. You want to make a statement at home, especially Montreal's home form hasn't been as strong as its road form this season, which is usually the opposite for MLS teams. So I think it is important to field your best 11, definitely when at home.
And Hady, did you have any surprises that Toy was starting and not Camara for that game?
Was I surprised that Nazi chose this game? Yeah, maybe, because Toy wasn't, is not in a good form. But when you think about it, and when you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, it kind of makes sense. Your playoffs are going to be are just around the corner. Mm-hmm. You're going to need more than 2 strikers to be in form, so you're going to have to give him minutes so that he builds up confidence and maybe score a goal or 2 to maybe wake up from his his bad luck in front of goal, or bad karma, or whatever you want to call it, because I don't know if it's luck at that point, because he's not been very precise, very clinical, but he's a good player. Mason Toy is a good player, and no, I wasn't more surprised than that when I thought about it real hard. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's the time right now to give him a start in a game that's important, because it's important to give some sort of confidence to a
Yeah, yeah.
player. So giving him a starting spot in an important game is telling him, you know what, I trust you, and I want you to be to do your best in a big game.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. So in the first 15 minutes, well, it had nothing to do with the strikers because Columbus had the better chances, and James Pantemis had
Yeah.
to make two very good saves against Cucho Hernandez and one off a Jonathan Mensah header. Um, any worries at that point, guys, seeing how how Columbus were having success in creating chances?
Just worried for my dignity after I divulged my culinary choices last week, and apparently I'm gonna reap
Yeah,
the
yeah, true.
consequences still this week. Oh Lord, Hattie,
Yeah, so
you missed an episode last week.
Yeah, so
it
Justin was
just
calling Eve out on her pasta. Yeah, in the summer, no pasta in the summer for Eve. Eh?
I do not boil water in the summer. Nope. Nope. Um.
So,
So
guys, my question.
yeah.
What about my question?
um, is there any worries? No, not really.
Well,
Not really. You
Columbus
know
were
what?
getting the better chances in the first 15 minutes.
But
Eh?
is it, at one point, you're gonna have a bad game, right? Like, you cannot be as good as you were in the past 7-8 games where Montreal has been the dominant team. So you're gonna have a dip in form. And you know what? That was the game where we
No,
had that dip in
but
form, right?
I found it interesting because we knew, we've known for some time now that Montreal struggles against a park bus. But that was not what Columbus had come to do. They were not sitting back and hitting on the counter.
Yeah,
They
you're
wanted
right.
to control possession just as much as Montreal did. So I was actually really fascinated to see that because we hadn't seen Montreal struggle that much against, say, an opponent who desires to control the ball similarly to them. It had really been more of those bunker and counter opponents. So I was kind of like intrigued by. Well, obviously I was very frustrated, in stadium, but my rationale self there was intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Columbus was in front in possession at one point. I think
Oh
at the end
yeah.
of the first half, they have more possession than Montreal, which is very weird because we haven't seen that a lot this season. So yeah, very good point.
Yeah. And in the 24th minute, Montreal got their first good opportunity. Mihailovic found Chouanière down the left wing, who cut it back perfectly to Mason Toy, who took a weak shot straight at Ilar Room. Now, guys, just going back quickly to Mason Toy, because, the playoffs are on the corner and people are really thinking about it more and more. We saw it in the questions that we got today preparing this show. A lot of people are already thinking about the playoffs. The question I have is there any chance Toy starts our first playoff game, or Kai Kamara is a lock to start that very first playoff game?
You know what? I'm just gonna answer you with some comments from our listeners, right? So Matthew first says at least Toy is getting opportunities, which is a
True.
very good
Word.
thing
Nope.
Yeah.
for a
Excellent
striker.
point. Yeah.
And the second is Joey saying once Toy puts one in, I feel the confidence will come back. And you know what? Everybody
Probably.
feels the same
Yeah.
way around
Yeah.
Mason
Yeah.
Toy. We know that he's a striker that goes on streaks, and whenever he's in a good streak, then he's in a good form. He's gonna start banging goals game after game after game after game. And right now, he's not in a good form. It's gonna come. I'm pretty sure it's gonna come. And good choice for Nancy to give him a pat on the back and give him that start. On Friday.
Eve, at least you're gonna answer my question, I guess.
Honestly, I think it would have to be Kai Kamara being a starter for the playoff game. Especially, that match versus Toronto. Hattie, I know you were traveling, so I don't know if you got to actually watch the match or
Yeah.
not. Like later,
Yeah.
oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
did.
I think for that match on the road in Toronto where he ran his socks off, it was kind of beyond human for me, especially given his age and everything. That says to me that's somebody who wants to start in the playoffs. And I'm not saying that Mason Toy doesn't want to, because we know he's very competitive. He's very he challenges himself a lot and whatnot. But Kamara, I think, has delivered more this season, and as well we've seen that kind of. We've seen a better chemistry. Maybe it's just because we've had a larger sample size. It might just be because I might just be saying it because it's a larger sample size. although we did see really good interplay between Toy and Camera in the match versus Seattle, I think overall we've seen the best between Kyoto, who's definitely a lock to start, and Camera.
Yeah, right. So in the 35th minute, Kamal Miller got his head onto a good delivery off a corner from Mihailovic, but only managed to put his header over the bar. Now, I want to just do a little technique call here because it was a very interesting sequence.
Okay.
So we'll just put it on the screen for those watching. So okay, exactly at this moment, this is when. So for those who missed it, Miller got up, headed the ball downwards, so it hit the turf and went over the net. Now, so Miller gets his head onto the ball. Look at Eloy Room, Columbus's goalkeeper. He's stationed exactly in the middle of the goal, so you see the same distance between the posts. And if we go about half a second later,
just give me 2 seconds. It's just in the midst of loading. It's really slow.
Problem.
There
So
we
the ball
go.
does hit the ground and bounces up. You see it on the screen. It's circled. Look, Room has moved maybe 3 inches to his right, and he didn't anticipate where the ball was going because of the trajectory downwards. And if we go just a bit
To the
later,
third picture.
look at where the ball is, and Room is starting to make a movement. So this is an interesting technique, and you'll hear coaches say it often. You know, if you're able to get a free header on goal, try to direct it downwards, because there's 2 things here. If you get it downwards, you can anticipate a bounce of the turf or maybe a deflection. So goalies will rarely commit to making a move quickly just by looking at where the ball leaves the head at the moment of contact. And also what can happen is that if you time your header perfectly, you won't get it on the top of your head if you just missed it half a second early, and it will go over. So these opportunities to put it down and force maybe the goalie to freeze a second are very good, and I'm happy to see that that our center backs use that technique quite often, because you know they're good with their heads, and that's something that was important for the team clearly to get bigger and stronger at center back. But using their strengths offensively too is interesting, and we saw it. It should have been a goal by Kamal Miller, but it was just an unfortunate miss.
I just want to ask you a question, Sam, because you know we always say that you were a defender, so that's why maybe you know about this. You have to get a lot of power in order for that header to be dangerous, right? Because you know it needs to be powerful enough in order to bounce with a certain certain force in order to bounce back and be dangerous, right? So
Well,
it's very hard to
well, it is definitely, and the thing is, you're gonna be held by the velocity of the ball coming onto your head. So if it's a floating corner, like a floating ball, you know, players will have to really use their body to generate more power. But if you're able to get a glancing header off a very strong delivery where you won't get full contact on your head, but you're just gonna glance it, you know, the ball won't lose a lot of power. So the delivery is very much important in this moment, even more than the technique that you use. And what was interesting on this play is that Mihailovic corner was really whipped in hard, and that's probably what set Miller off, because the delivery came so hard on. Maybe if it was just a little slower, Miller's ball would have bounced right in front of the goalie and finished in the back of the net. So yes, as the quote unquote forward player on this instance, you need to generate power, but you have to be wary not to put too much of delivery is good, because you're gonna happen what Miller did on that. So yeah, that's what's up. Let's go back to the game, guys, because in the 44th and 45th minute, Georgie got 2 very good chances. One that was saved by Eloy Room, and then just after, one that was brilliantly blocked by Milos Degenek. Guys, Georgie is finding his game again as he plays, which is great news. Seeing how crucial his presence is to the harmony of the team when playing forward, do you guys have the feeling we will need to look elsewhere to find his replacement, or do we have someone at the club ready to do what Georgie does?
I am still a proponent of giving Sean Rea a look in preseason. He's, I think, had a really, really good season so far with Valour. He just won Player of the Month in the CPL. So I'm still a proponent of that. Obviously, I I think you and I talked about this last week, Sam. Like it's still quite a leap to make. So maybe as well, we don't even look at that position if we want to bring in a player of a similar caliber.
I think that having Rea and Miljevic is not enough. You need that starting player that makes a difference. And unfortunately, Rea and Miljevic are not right there in experience and at that level yet. But I would love to have Rea in the mix, not only Miljevic. So no, I think we will need to get someone from someone from outside the club. So maybe again we'll have Vasily bring in his expertise to find another gem within MLS. That would be awesome. Or I don't know if Olivier Renard is willing to spend a bit because he's gonna have a bit of money to spend. So maybe he's gonna be willing to spend a bit and get someone to replace Georgie from outside the MLS.
Yeah, honestly, I echo what you say, guys, because you see that Georgie's style is really tailor-made for the way we're playing. So
Yep.
either and same can be said of Victor Wanyama in that center of the pitch, and Kamal Miller, who goes from defense to midfield sometimes to bring that extra body. So, either Olivier Renard goes and find a player that has a very similar profile to Georgie, or we might have to tweak a bit how we're playing, and that's going to be more on Wilfred Nassi than Olivier Renard. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But anyways, we're not there yet, so
I just want to bounce back on what you said. I don't agree with that. Kamal Miller, we have someone within the club that's able to play that role, and it's Joel Waterman. Joel Waterman is a former midfielder. He's able to play that same role that Kamal Miller is playing.
He's not as fast as far as getting hurt. So I think you have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, he's not as fast, but it's okay. You can get someone that's fast on the other side, right? But the midfield part, that's what I was saying, because Sam was talking about Kamal Miller being able to step up in the midfield.
Yeah.
Joel Waterman is able to do that, But yeah.
I'd have to see it a bit because Waterman's it's not been his role this year. He's not had to do it a lot, so I'd have to see a bigger sample maybe to say. But I get what you mean, and you're right. He's a former midfielder, so we suppose he could do it. But no, I won't commit to that before I see it a bit.
Let's wait and see.
Yeah, so definitely food for thought. And someone who had a lot to think of after the first half was Wilfred Nassi, as his team went into the dressing room at 0-0. But Columbus came, Columbus, they came clearly with a structured plan to stop Montreal. And what I want to know is, Coach Yves, what would have been your speech at halftime to your boys?
I would have told them to remain composed, I think. Columbus was trying to dictate the tempo of play a lot, and we're trying to really impose their game on Montreal. Montreal often does to its own opponents when it's on the road. So I think I would have said, remain composed, remember you're at home. The stadium was rocking all game long. And so I would have told him, told him to channel that energy and really bring their game up a level. Also, probably would have had a quick chat with, like Mason Toy and stuff, who had gotten some chances. Like you weren't doing anything wrong. It was just Eli Room's a really great. He is a really good goalkeeper. So try to keep the confidence up as well. And then as well. I probably would have had something to add for Wanyama and Piet, just because of how often Columbus had been able to take shots and had been able to broach into that back line. Yeah. So I think I would have said I would have encouraged them maybe to step up on the ball carrier a little earlier than they had been. Sorry.
Interesting. And Hady, any tactical or personnel changes you would like to see at halftime?
Not personnel changes, but tactical changes. Wilfred Nassi, at one point, really likes, Piet to play a bit more on the right side of the midfield, with Wanyama staying in the center, and sometimes Mihailovic going into the middle of the pitch, or
Yeah.
Kamal Miller, advancing in the middle, on the left side of the pitch. I think that in this game it didn't really work that well in the midfield, because you had, I think one of the best midfield pair in MLS with Darlington Nagbe and Aiden Morris. I think Aiden Morris is the most undervalued player in the MLS, in
He's
my
very good.
opinion.
Yeah, very good.
He's just amazing. He's just amazing. So I think we had a lot of trouble in the midfield, and I think that's exactly what happened during halftime. There was a small tweak in the midfield that made Montreal take the upper hand in the second half, even if we're gonna talk about it a bit later. But it was a lot better in the second half because of that. So yeah, no, I think that was the tactical tweak that Wilfried Nancy had to do, and I think he did it.
So no changes for either side as they took the field for the second half. Georgi Mihailovic missed a glorious opportunity from close range off a header in the 55th minute, and 10 minutes later, the crew got its first goal off a Jonathan Mensah header. Montreal's misery was about to be compounded 2 minutes later when Zelarayan took his own rebound in a weird turn of events and scored on a frozen Pantemis. Guys, what did you make of that whole wild sequence of 3 minutes, which started with an unfinished altercation between Kyoto and Cucho Hernandez, by the way? I started you, Eve.
I mean, it felt like you normally say 2 minutes of madness, but I would say 3 minutes of madness. I think tempers were flaring, and I was definitely actually a little bit worried later on that the VAR was because maybe Kyoto had done something, because I wasn't close enough to the action to see what the VAR was for later on, which I know we'll talk about. But anyway, it was just like they had just completely forgotten their tactics for those 3 minutes, and just everything went out. Like, I know the first goal was based on a free kick, like on a set piece, so that is what it is. But the second piece, it just felt like everybody was stuck in place, and it was just like a collective brain fart. I don't know how else to describe it.
It was what it was. Hady.
I don't know. It's funny because I saw a lot of people, criticizing Pantemis, and I was like, man, what did you want him to do? Like, the first header is a lobbing header. Like, there's nothing he can do. And
Well, if anything, it's Wanyama who got beaten on that one.
exactly, it was exactly. So nothing he can do. And on the second one, I was told they didn't even jump. But like, first of all, there was a first shot that was blocked, and then he took it on the volley. Like, what you want him to do? Like, he can't do anything. It's just circumstances. Circumstances, and nothing more. It's not that Columbus in the second half. I didn't think that Columbus was better than Montreal. I think Montreal was better than Columbus, and during, like he said, it's a moment of madness. It's just a moment where everything goes wrong, right? It's everything goes wrong, and you can see two goals, and it's weird because it wasn't the time where Columbus was, on top of Montreal, like they were in the first half. So
True.
yeah, no, it happens, but the important part is the reaction afterwards.
Well, that's what I was about to say, and Wilfried Nancy did react. He replaced, he did the triple substitution. Off came Piet Chouanière and Waterman. On came Torres, Cuizera, and Broguillard. Plus, 5 minutes later, Matko Miljevic replaced Rudy Camacho. Oh yeah, there was that red card. Sorry, I forgot that. I was gonna miss it. The turning point of the game, 76 minutes. Kai Kamara, who had replaced Mason Toy too, he got in really a minor scuffle with Luis Diaz, and he kicked out on the Sierra Leonean and picked up a red card. So all of that came together, not in the order that I said it, but that was where we were at that moment of the game. So from then on, Yves, what were you expecting from Montreal playing against 10 and being down by 2?
So I expected, given that Columbus had a 2-goal advantage and they were now down a man, I was certain that they were going to park the bus, and I said, oh dear God.
Yeah,
because we know
here we go
exactly how
again.
that's gone. Yeah, exactly. And to their credit, they basically did. There were like, I think, 18 guys in the box on multiple occasions. um, so I was kind of concerned. And then obviously Wilfred Nancy was just like, you're a defender, you're coming off. You're a defender, you're coming off. And just throwing on attacking minded players who truly don't have a defensive bone in their body. So I said, oh my God, like if Columbus gets a counter attack, Montreal's probably up the creek as well. But lo and behold, I really did feel like in the stadium when Montreal was really, especially because Columbus had parked the bus and, Montreal was kind of attacking just in waves, right? I really felt like the stadium was like we were all so tense.
Yeah, I felt it too. Yeah, absolutely. And but Hady, we talked about this a lot that Montreal struggled against that low block, against that bus. And did you have the feeling that they looked disorganized when Columbus really committed to play very, very deep, or you were satisfied the way they were setting up?
I would say desperate versus disorganized.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it's normal to be desperate at that point. I think it's
It's a good
normal
point,
to
yeah.
just throw crosses in the box, as many crosses as possible in the box, because you have someone like Kai Kamara, you have so much offensive power, you have very good midfielders that can shoot the ball from outside the area. You have to try your luck. You don't need to be organized. You just need to put as many balls as possible on Eloy Room's net. And that's exactly what they did. And you know what? It worked. So do you need organization in last 15 minutes, knowing that the other team has parked the bus and that you're one man up? I don't really think so. As long as you cover your
Interesting.
ears,
Yeah.
and I'm going to talk about that a bit later. As long as you cover your ears and you make sure that you're not going to be very exposed on the counter, then at that point, it's gung ho. Just go ahead, man.
All in, yeah. And Patrick sent us a question that's in that vein, so we're gonna answer it right now.
Yes, we sure are. It's in my long list of questions for tonight. There we are.
So Patrick asks us, does the difficulty we seem to have to pick up home wins against good teams worry you at all? What do you think CF Montreal should do to address this? They have trouble breaking down a low block. It's interesting because, Hady, you kind of came with a start of an answer. It's maybe to drop a bit of that structure and just go wild a bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's funny because Wilfried Nancy was asked this at the press conference. I'm going to talk about it now because it's relevant.
Of course.
He was asked about that, and he was like, you know what? A lot of people have asked me if we are, if I am worried of playing home games because of the results that we've been having. And he's like, no, we're having chances, we're having opportunities, but we're just not putting them in the back of the net. If we had put those chances at the back of the net, nobody would have said anything. So it's not a matter of not being able to create chances because the chances are there. It's just that the finishing is not there. And that's what we need to work on. So again, am I worried? No, I'm just worried that I just hope that we're going to find a way to be clinical up front during home games, but the chances are there.
Eve.
Yes and no. I think if Montreal is able to, if they find themselves in a position where they can commit enough bodies into the box, I think we now have the players who can put quality crosses into the box, and we also have strikers who can score with their heads for sure. Notably Kai Kamara and Romel Kyoto can do that as well. Mason Toye, we know he did it as well last season, just hasn't come off this season for him, of course. So I think now we have like a better variety of service that can be offered into the box if Montreal is able to get the ball out to the flanks. I know. Oh my God. I saw that and I was like, oh God, there we go.
Hey, you need balls to play in the playoffs anyway.
Hey, there we go. Yes. I'm not.
People.
No. It's a Sunday. Tomorrow's a work day. I'm practicing moderation. I practiced moderation on Friday. It was like very strange.
But you know what, Patrick, I
No,
hear
but
you
in all
because
seriousness, Patrick.
because I have a bit of that concern too, man. Maybe that because the thing is, we play a very, very structured game under Wilfred Nancy. Whether it looks a bit wild or not, it's very offensive. It's creative for sure, but it's very structured too. And I think that where our structure maybe meets a wall is when you're playing against these very, very low blocks. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they're gonna accept to maybe go a bit, a bit creative and let go a bit of that structure and that system that we have and just use their qualities because really, you look at this team. You have Wanyama who's able to drive in midfield. You have Mihailovic who can beat a man. You have Kyoto who can do it sometimes. But you need more than that. You need movement, a lot of movement, and that's sometimes what Montreal, when they're playing against that very low block, tend to stop doing. They just stay static in their position as if everyone is playing, oh, this is my zone and I'm gonna use my zone. And you don't see a lot of permutations. You don't see a lot of overlaps, underlaps, and maybe that's a key to unlock these low blocks, is that you need a lot of movement and create some craziness in that defense, because they're coming extremely
Yeah.
structured. So if you can break that structure of that defensive team, then you'll have opportunities. And
And
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to add that NHLP 5000 said that, Montreal's also struggled when the pressure came fast on them, is NHLP 500's comment, which is true. Montreal has also struggled against a high press. We saw that just a couple of weeks ago against the high press, I think, machine of MLS.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, no, also a good point.
So, guys, a few chances here and there, but nothing really alarming for the 10 men. But in the 89th minute, Torres cut in from the right flank, passed it to Miljevic, who shot first time from 20 yards, and Wanyama, who was passing by in the box, did great to deflect the ball home with a header, and the score was now 2-1. Guys, at that very moment, what was going through your mind in 3 words?
Wanyama finally scored.
True.
I don't know if I was capable of language. No, it was... I'm trying to make it happen. I'm trying to say it in 3 words. I can get it down to 4 easily.
Go for 4. Go for
Okay, thank you. I was, can we do it? 4 words. Can we do it? And I said, oh my God, they've got 1 goal back.
Yeah.
Can they make a second happen? Because at that time it was the 89th minute, right? So injury time hadn't been announced, so you didn't know how many minutes. You knew it was going to be a good few.
Yeah.
With the red card, and there had been a few other stoppages in play and stuff, and Wilfred Nancy's half a team of substitutions. So you knew that there was definitely going to be a little bit of time, but you didn't know if you were going to get 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever minutes added on, and if you were going to get enough time. So I said, oh my God, can they do it?
I was thinking, do not leave, for everyone who left.
Yes! 3 excellent words. Oh, Justin. Okay, I'm not going to comment if that went through my head or not, because my mom listens to this podcast.
Guys, momentum was swinging immensely in Montreal's favor, and 2 minutes after Johnston almost scored a diving header, Quizera passed the ball centrally to Bourguillard, who took a very heavy touch and decided to shoot, and he absolutely buried
Best
it.
choice of his life.
Oh yeah, and the score was level. We got a great picture, and we used it for the promo.
Yes,
on Twitter,
we sure did, but we're going to share it with you
guys.
here as well. It's saved up top.
And it's from the excellent Audrey Magny, who gave it to us. Look at it, and I know we're talking about all that, what it means and the celebration, but just look at the beautiful technique that Bourguillard used.
Amazing.
I mean, this is textbook how we show you how to strike a ball when you're young. The ball is just behind your support foot. The chest is over the ball, not leaning back. He's looking at the ball.
He's got the
his
arm
right
out
foot
wide
is-
to balance himself.
Yeah, exactly. The right foot is tense, is straight. That's beautiful. Bourguillard, who's a defender, struck it as pure as a striker can strike it. It was a magnificent goal, and it was 2-2 at that moment, guys.
Let's not forget the deflection from Williams, right? Let's not forget it, right?
Hady, what are you doing? Stop spoiling the party.
No, but yeah, no, amazing shot. He had to take it. It's funny because at the presser, he was asked about the goal, and he was like, I had a very heavy first touch, and then I tried to get over it, and I just shot it as it is. He didn't really think about it. He just took a shot because like there wasn't anything else he could do, and it worked. Right? It worked.
Well, we're grateful for his heavy touch. That's for sure, man.
Yeah.
And if the stadium absolutely erupted, to your souvenir, when was the last time that we reached that level of noise at Stade Saputo?
I mean, God, I'm trying to think because you have to remember, like, I moved to Montreal in 2019, which was the depth of the Remy Gard era. Then 2020 we weren't really at Stade Saputo at all, and then 2021 was what it was. I'm just trying to think. The time that Drogba scored the winning... I wasn't there in person, but just to compare based on TV. When Drogba scored the winning goal in injury time with the free kick versus the Galaxy?
Yeah, that was exactly why I was asking the question, because I was thinking of that moment.
Me to get there?
Yeah, so, okay, perfect. Yeah, that was the last time I heard such a roar at Stade Saputo. And if anyone's listening has another answer, just tell us. But it's been a long time since I have heard that roar, that stadium exploding like that at the end.
I'm very grateful it didn't have a roof.
Yeah, it did.
It happened a few times. During the years, but it's been a while. Completely agree. It's been a while, but I remember that Donadel goal from against Columbus.
Oh yeah, Patrick.
That was like.
Wasn't that the time that we lost against Columbus?
Yeah, but I remember that roar after.
Oh, okay.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
In that moment, it was really amazing. I remember the famous 6-0 against Toronto. I think during the whole game there was that roar. It happened quite a few times.
Yeah. Oh, any match versus Toronto, the atmosphere is always a little different, for sure.
True. Eh?
But Patrick says, that was definitely... the best atmosphere that he's experienced at Stade Saputo, even better than the 2-1 playoff win against Columbus. Nah. And poor NHLP 5000's poor voice has not recovered yet. Oh no. Excellent. Drink some tea. Hopefully you aren't afraid to boil water in your kitchen in the summer.
Hady, I've talked a lot about Bouguillard. It's one of the players I like a lot in this team, and I think I'll ask my question. How ironic is that the player that arguably has been the most hard done by Wilfried Nancy is the one who qualifies us for the playoffs?
Is it ironic? I think it shows that Wilfried Nancy knows what Broguillard can bring to the table. He's just a very offensive player that's not very good defensively, and
that's a fact.
And that's exactly what he needed during that game, and he used it, and you know what? It worked for him. So, is it ironic? I don't think so. It shows that Wilfried Nancy is not stubborn. He's not as stubborn as what we think. He knows when to use his players, at what time to use them, and that's. I don't think we've had a coach that's as good as that during those moments in the history of CF Montreal, of Montreal Impact, in MLS. I'm not going to talk before MLS, but in MLS. So all credit to Wilfried Nancy and all credit to Zachary Broguillard to stay sharp and to still believe in his, to have confidence in his abilities and scoring that goal. So I don't see that as ironic. I just see that as a perfect ending or a perfect start of a new relationship or ending of a new relationship, whatever you want to call it.
Interesting. So Montreal picked up the 1 point needed to get the X next to their name in the standings and qualify for the playoffs for the first time since 2016, excluding the play-in round in 2020, because I know some people consider that playoffs. I don't.
I don't, and reading online
I
it
do.
seems to be very divided.
Okay.
I understand they paid out bonuses like they went to playoffs, but I'm like, there's no other season that will happen
Well, it was
unless
called play
playoffs get.
in. Eh? Play
There's
in.
always been a play-in.
Exactly.
There's always been a play-in, guys. You know, when we qualified and we played against
No,
Houston,
or
Yeah,
against
that was a play-in too.
DC.
Yeah.
That was a play-in.
No, it was Houston. Yeah, I remember.
No, it
And
was
but the
Houston.
DC
And
we
too was a
lost
play in.
3-0.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just maybe it was how weird that year
Well, it
was.
was the fact
or-
that they were 10th in the standings out of like, I think it was 13 teams.
yeah,
at the
exactly.
time.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I'm
about
like,
three
bro.
teams missing the playoffs.
I'm like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was harder. It's not like hard to make it.
Yeah. No, but this year definitely a different vibe and it was well deserved. So guys, I want to hear you just a quick word on what all of this means to you. I'll start with you, Hady.
I think it's kind of a statement of the new way of the new way of. I'm trying to find my words, but
Do you want me to?
the new Montreal way?
Yeah,
you know, the
yeah.
new Montreal 5-year
Identity,
plan, or
yeah.
whatever you want to call it. You know, the new way they're trying to build that club. You know, and it's a statement saying that, you know what, we started this with Thierry Henry, the first year with the pandemic and everything, and that's the third year now. This year is the third year of that new plan, and it's going. We've been getting better and better since that plan started, and all credit to Wilfried Nancy, to Olivier Renard, and to Joey Saputo for continuing that project. Yes, some people were here and they weren't the right choices, but you know the project, on the pitch, the project is the same that it was in 2020 when Thierry Henry was named head coach. So for me, that's a statement. You know, it's important. It shows that we have a clear vision of what we want to do as a club, a way to play the game, but also a way to promote our team, a way to promote our players, and we've seen, you know, already the fruits of that plan with Mihailovic going and everything going on there. So yeah, it's just a statement. It's just that, you know what, guys, we can be a seller club and be a great club too. We can be a club that doesn't have a big DP, but can be a good club too. We're second in the East. We just proved how good we are. So I don't know. It's I loved it. I loved it because, and it's giving me goosebumps because I think we've been saying this since the beginning here on TBIR. Not only me, not only Eve, not only Sam, all three of us. We've been saying that we don't need that star. We don't need. Yes, of course, it's a good thing to have that star, that starting DP that you pay 15, 20 millions, but you don't need it in order to be a good team, and that's exactly what we proved. So, yeah, credits to everybody at CF Montreal for achieving that.
Eve.
I think it's kind of like we've seen such a turn just in the atmosphere around the club in general this year. You know, not just on the pitch with like kind of the development and the continuation of what we saw last year, but a lot of the off the pitch stuff we've seen night and day, and it really feels like, you know, the clouds have parted, the sun is shining, and you know, a part of me wonders if the I use the term good vibes on Friday so many times. I'm really sorry to people who were around me when I was like, I just feel the good vibes. And like I said, I practice moderation, so I was like literally just feeling good vibes. But those quote unquote good vibes that came, you know, that came about as a culmination on Friday, it just felt like everything had come full circle for Montreal, you know. Not only on the pitch with making a cohesive sporting plan, like Hady had said, but also, you know, getting all of the fans in the city behind them, having the stadium sold out well in advance of the match, because it was sold out actually Friday afternoon, which is super rare.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm I'm just really happy. Good
Yeah,
job.
that's just how I was feeling for real. I was just thinking at when we endured, really we endured the Miguel's era. It didn't go as planned, and as fans we were sitting there, and even the last year of Mauro Biello was tough.
Yeah.
Seeing a club legend leave a bit unceremoniously, seeing Patrice Bernier retire at the end of a year, which was difficult. That was the first year that we missed the playoffs, and that was the start of the downfall. And the pandemic after
Mm.
the Gilmore time, and so all of that. It's been tough in recent years being a Montreal fan, to be very honest, and now it's feeling so lighter and so brighter. So it was just fun being at the stadium, and you could see how happy the players were to share that moment with the fans. And that's awesome, because that's what the club is. It's a club where fans are close to the players and close to the administration, like Gabriel Gervais, who goes to the tailgate to drink a beer and eat with you guys and stuff. So it was just cool to see where we are now, compared to
Yeah.
everything that we went through recently. So
Yeah.
so yeah, good vibes,
Yeah.
exactly like you said. um Hady, you were at the press conference. What did Coach Nasi have to say on really this amazing achievement and the game in general, of course?
Oh, he had quite a few stuff to say. Of course, a lot of emotions. He said that he remembered the first time they took the job. The coaching staff took the job in 2000 after Thierry Henry left, and he said that was the objective, to be in the playoffs since that day, the first day that they took over. And he said that after everything that we went through, of course he mentioned Jason DiTullio for sure, everything that we went through, it's just we achieved it. We are where we wanted. So that was what Wilfried Nancy had to say. He also said quite a few other things that are very important. He said that they were very good in the first 10 minutes, that Montreal was very good in the first 10 minutes, and then after Columbus
Came into the
were
match. Yeah.
yeah, was a better team. And he's like, you know what? And then we were better in the second half, and then they scored on a set piece, and then the moment of madness with Larian scoring. He said he was very happy for ZBG. He didn't have a
Good.
lot of minutes, but it shows that the team is always behind, the vision, and behind, that they're always working together as a team. And it's nice to see players that are not getting minutes, just participating in that
Yeah,
victory.
yeah,
And that's something that I wanted to talk to you before, when I said that I wanted to talk about when we really wanted to go, when we went gung ho, and we attacked that box, that Columbus box. He talked about Alistair Johnston and how important he was for Montreal during that game. I don't know if you guys realize, and he said it also. I did realize before he said it, but he said it in the right words. He said he played 3 positions during that game.
Yeah.
He played as a right wing back,
yeah,
then he played as a right center back,
yeah.
and then he played as a right back.
Yeah, when he went to the back four with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Exactly. And he's like, this guy is so important for us because he's so intelligent. He understands football. And that's exactly why I wasn't worried when we went, all that offensive at the end, because we had Alistair Johnston that's able to hold, the whole team behind. And that's what Nancy said also. He was very happy with the atmosphere. And then he said, he gave us his motto and the motto of the team. He said, who dares wins. And that's the motto that he likes to go by. And he said it in French, qui ose gagne. So who dares wins. And I love that. And then there was, I don't know if you want to talk about the players' availabilities
Rapidly,
after.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, just very quick. Pantemis, he said that it was one of the best moments in his professional career. Top 3 in the atmospheres that he's lived. He said that yes, he did a few saves that were very important at the beginning of the game, because that was the question. But he said, yeah, I made the saves because it's my job. But also my teammates scored the goals, and that's also as important. So I love that answer from Pentemis.
Yeah.
And then he said all credit to the coach. He started that in 2021. We're all behind him and behind his vision. And again, it gives me goosebumps. Then ZBG. Then ZBG said two things. I'm not going to give you everything that he said, but just two things that are very important. The first thing he said, the group, they're all different nationalities, but that's exactly what Montreal represents. It's a bunch of nationalities, and there's no gangs. They all stand
like
together.
cliques,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There's no cliques. They all stand together. They're always together, and they live everything together. And that togetherness, I think, was very important for him. And he gave also credits to the coach, to Wilfried Nancy. He said it's because of Wilfried Nancy's changes during that game that we were able to come back from 0-2 to 2-2. So again, we see everything behind everybody behind Wilfried Nancy, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's certainly amazing. And if you were in your office in section 127, talk about your game day experience and the ambience at Stade Saputo, which was something.
Yeah, so obviously we had like a mini tailgate because it was a weeknight. Even if it was going into the weekend, of course, lots of people were still working on Friday, including myself. So it was just a mini tailgate before the match, but still I'm really impressed by the number of folks who showed up to the tailgate as always. And oh my goodness, excuse me, my nose got a little snuffy after I sneezed there, so I do apologize if I get stuffy. Anyway, though, we did have once again we had some folks from the administration coming to visit us. So Gabriel Gervais stopped by, Patrick Leduc stopped by, Samia Shebir stopped by. So all three of those folks came by to say hi to the fans at the tailgate and have a chat with them, which was excellent, which was start to the good vibes. I might, if I'm editing tonight, maybe I'll hijack the title. No, I'm kidding. So anyway, 127 is at the end closer to 132 than it is to 114. And I have always been a proponent of the stadium having supporters groups at each end of the stadium. So for me, it's important to have that. And I think it was last game. I think it was awesome. I think it was fantastic to have the supporters groups going at both ends, all game long. 132 has a long and storied reputation of being so loud and so passionate, and they came back right away, just like that. And I know it was some folks who used to be there and some new folks as well, some new faces. And then obviously like 114, the crowd there has grown a lot since, over the past several years. They've grown a lot, and they've definitely developed their voice as well. So that glorious cacophony in the stadium, really, really pleased to find that once again.
So it's Marcom too who was happy how section 132 was, and he hit us up with good to see a new group in 132. Fans, players, and management are happy. Forming a new supporters group is not an easy task. Keeping it going is continuous hard work. Best of luck to the collective. We didn't have much information on what the collective is.
No.
You guys, do you have any more information, or it's pretty much what was out that we know, right?
Yeah, pretty much what was out there. It is groups who we've known in the past. So members of Bolo's crew, members of the Supra, former members of the Ultras who, did come out clearly and distance themselves as a group, saying they aren't coming back specifically. So it's a lot of those groups who were previously known in the stadium, as well as some new faces, of course. And I'm sure there are just general tickets being sold as well. But it's a lot of people who understand the tradition of that passion at that end, of the stadium.
Very interesting. So they're definitely gonna be there on Tuesday when the Fire is at home. Fire, who are mathematically in playoff hunt, but things don't look really good for the Illinois team. Chicago, they're currently 12th in the East on 35 points, and in their last five, they have won one, drawn two, and lost two. So we're gonna preview it quickly, guys. As usual, Montreal will win if, and Montreal will lose if. So whoever is ready can go. Otherwise, I'll go.
You can. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready either.
Oh crap. Okay, go Sam.
I think Montreal will win if they rotate. I rarely say that, but I think it's going to be interesting to see a big rotation. Maybe Breza in goal. Maybe give a start to ZBG, a start to Miljevic, maybe a start to Sunusi even. I don't know. But I think Montreal will win it. They rotate. And it kind of goes with my Montreal will lose if the starters are still a bit quote unquote hungover from qualifying for the players. And of course, I'm not talking about drinking alcohol. I'm talking about the emotional roller coaster that game. So putting in I think a big rotation, a lot of the subs and players who would like to maybe have a bit more minutes come playoffs could be a way to keep the streak going because the core of the 11 played a lot this year, and I think it's gonna be good to maybe challenge them a bit with the subs to see how it goes on Tuesday. So Montreal will win if they rotate. Montreal will lose if the starters are hungover.
Okay. Do you want to go?
No, go ahead.
So I actually was thinking the same thing, Hady. The same thing, Sam. I was thinking like Montreal will win if they rotate effectively. So if they balance, rotating those guys who have maybe worked really hard for more minutes and have demonstrated and have performed when they've gotten those sub appearances. But not over rotating so that it's not just 11 new faces on the pitch who haven't played together, because 11 would be a lot obviously, so but nonetheless you know what I mean. So it's not so many players, it's not like 7 or 8 out of the 11 who are rotated. And so rotate effectively. I agree with you. I think rotation is important for this match, but like I said, you just got to strike that fine balance and not overdo it. And Montreal will lose if man, I gotta tell you, I live in deep fear of a young lad named Gaga Salina. Is that wrong? I live in fear of a teenager. He's a really, really, really good keeper. He has stood on his head for Chicago this season. Like, their record is not because of him. Their record is in spite of him. Their record would be so much worse if he were not in net for them. So if Gaga Salina perhaps does not have as excellent a match as he has had for Chicago, game in and game out, and proving why he is now a Chelsea player, actually.
Interesting. Hady.
I'm going to start with Montreal will lose if they're overconfident. If they think that they have it all and they know it all against the Chicago team that on paper is not as good. And knowing that they already qualified, there's always a bit of overconfidence of, thinking that everything's going to be okay. I think that's where Montreal will lose. Montreal will win. I think if they're the players that have not had the most excellent, most perfect performances in the last few games, if they are able to have a good game, I think Montreal will win. So I hope that someone like Mason Toy will get a good game, will score a goal. I think that's what you need during those games, because the starters there's gonna be a dip in form from those starters at one point, and I think this game looks like one of those games where the starters are gonna be a bit more passive. Yeah. So I think you need those players to wake up, the other players to wake up. So Mason Toy and other Joaquin Torres, all those players need to step up in order to win.
I agree.
Interesting. We'll go to the questions because we have 5 questions lined up on
Yeah.
Montreal, and we'll answer them back to back. We'll start by Simple Guy's question,
Yeah.
and most of them are about the playoffs. So Simple Guy hits us with: if we lose a playoff game, will it be a successful year? Personally, I say yes, but how about y'all? Thing
Wow.
is with his question, he says if we lose a playoff game, if we lose the final, it's for sure. I think he meant losing in the
One, the
first round.
first
Yeah,
round. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
let's
how I take
answer
it
it
as
that
well.
way. Um,
I picked Montreal to go 10th in the East, so I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I have nothing else to say. If you told me in February Montreal would be likely hosting a playoff game, I would have said you're crazy. So therefore, I am bound to say yes. I think it would be a
Hedy.
successful year.
Yeah, I completely agree with Eve, but not for the same reasons. For me, it's all about going one step at a time. Again, Thierry Henry was the first year. They tried to change the way Montreal plays. Going from a counter-attacking team to a possession team, and that's what he succeeded. Yes, we didn't qualify or qualified for the playoffs. That wasn't a very important thing. The second year was like, you know what? We don't need DPS. We just need to build a very important core and develop that core, and we're able to develop that core. The play on the pitch was a lot more interesting than what it was in the previous years. And this year we're qualified for the playoffs, so that's step number 3. So being just qualified is a step forward already. So yeah, I'll be satisfied, and it will be a successful year for me.
Yeah, same here. It would be disappointing for sure if we
Yeah,
lose
of
in the
course.
first round, but it would be a successful year, most definitely. You have your coach that's touted all over the league to be probably coach of the year. You've sold Georgi Mihailovic for a good price. You have one DP. He's a defensive midfielder. I mean, look at how the other teams are set up. They are much more, offensive minded, and they've committed a lot more money on offensive players. And even knowing that, we're one of the teams who have scored the most goals in the Eastern Conference. So yeah, for sure it's a success either way. And I think anyone who thinks the opposite is a bit harsh on the team, because the way the playoffs are now in MLS, you drop an egg on the first game and you're out, and that doesn't mean you're a bad team. It just means that day you weren't there. So nah, man, it's a success for sure, most definitely. Um,
We have
Mathieu Charon next.
alrighty.
Mathieu hits us with. It's in French. I'll translate. Which opponent do we not want to face at the first round of the playoffs?
Oh my god. Honestly, on any day, it could be any club because that's how MLS is, right?
Yeah.
But I would say New York Red Bulls.
Oh wow.
Okay.
No, 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 no. The team that okay, of course it's Philadelphia, but we're not gonna play Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's it.
I think for me it's Philadelphia for sure. But the one that I really want to avoid is Columbus. Again, I think they were very, very good against us, and the fact that, as Eve said at one point, the fact that they didn't need to play a low block in order to beat us or to
To
give
frustrate.
us to frustrate us or to give us difficulties, for me is a testament of how
Oh.
good of a team they are.
Honestly, like they crossed my mind, but the thing is, their form has not been good. They've dropped leads left, right, and center all season,
Yeah.
right? And ostensibly, Montreal is probably going to get a home playoff game, right? And the only way I think, and hard to say. I mean, New York, they're on those 50 points, so they may as well get a home playoff game as well, probably because Orlando's in fifth on 42 points. But looking at it, like for me, New York, I don't know, man. It was hard to beat them at home, and if we were to host New York, I don't know.
Yeah, it's Red Bull too for me.
And they've played better on the road than at home this year as well.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for me it's Red Bull too. I don't I would. Well, I'd feel confident in the sense that we're on paper the better team, but they've not given us easy games, and they're able to play on that big pitch at Saputo under a lot of pressure, create that pressure, and they're just a dangerous team, man. And they're good. They're very good against a high line, and they've showed it
Yeah.
against us. And
Yeah.
that's when we play that high line. Ooh, they exploit these spaces, and we've not really found a way to eliminate that danger from our game. So yeah, Red Bull for me. So yeah, so only two teams out there, Red Bull or Columbus. Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Tio Toto's question. I
Yes.
really like that question, by the way. Well, I like them all, but that one it took me by surprise a bit, of course. Because there was talks this week about maybe
Oh
hosting a game
wow.
at the Olympic Stadium
Oh
in the
wow.
playoffs. Ah, man. And
Okay. I already know my
Kyoto,
thought.
Tio Toto asks us, Stade Saputo or Olympic Stadium for the playoffs? Is this even a question?
It's got to be Stade Saputo. I mean, unless there is 6 inches of snow on the ground, it's got to be Stade Saputo. Like I understand the idea of it being Stade Olympic because theoretically then there would be 60,000 people there, and probably if there are 60,000 people there, my
Will there
answer
be
would be different.
60,000?
No, I'm saying
That's
theoretically. I'm saying theoretically
theoretically.
here. I like, unless it's going to be really close to that number who want to get tickets. I don't think Stade Olympic is the place to go. We already know what a hot mess that surface is.
Sorry, I'm yeah, no, Stade Saputo. Until maybe the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe in the Eastern Conference Finals, if we
No,
qualified then, and if we have a home game then, so yes, maybe a Stade Olympique. But beforehand, Stade Saputo, I think
like,
the atmosphere, the ambiance at Stade Saputo is uncomparable to what you can get at the Stade Olympique.
unless
But
you have 60,000 people at the Stade Olympic.
you're not gonna have 60,000
I don't
people in the
think we'll
first
have
round of
it either.
playoffs. I
No,
doubt
I
no, no,
it.
don't
no,
think we'll
no,
have
no, no.
either.
I'm just saying, like, you would
Yeah.
get a better
Yeah,
atmosphere with 60,000 people at Stade.
I
Yeah.
I agree. That's why I
Okay.
said Eastern Conference Finals.
But
Oh,
there's
okay.
there's
Sorry, I
Because
wasn't
you're
sure if
sure
you were
that you
because of
can.
weather.
But
No,
there's
no, not the
something
weather.
No,
more
okay.
than there's something more than just that, the fans and the atmosphere. It's the way we play. Have you seen the ball bounce
Yeah,
around left and
yeah, it's
right
crazy.
on the Olympic
Yes,
You're right.
Stadium?
Yeah,
multiple
good point.
It's a
times.
Good
nightmare for a
point.
team like us. And if you're gonna play, that's exactly what a team that needs to park the bus wants. Just
Yeah,
send the ball forward. It's gonna bounce left and right. It's gonna go over the head of one of our defenders at some point, and they'll get a breakaway, get the shot they want, and they're gonna win 1-0. We can't. I would be very worried if we played at the Olympic Stadium because of how Wilfred Nancy wants his team to play ball on the floor and quick transitions with with crisp passes going through
good
midfield.
point.
Catastrophe at the Olympic Stadium. No, man, I
Yeah.
prefer we play on a frozen Stade Saputo than playing at Stade Olympique. Man. So that's my answer. Let's
Yay,
move on to
fans!
let's move on to Yannick Masticot's question.
Yes, it's
Um,
coming. I'm sorry, it's a little slow on my system, as most things are. For those of you who know what kind of device I roll on, it's pretty crappy. There we go.
Yannick Masticot asks us, will we keep Wanyama as a DP and will we add Kyoto as a DP for the next season? Both essential for the club and sure value. You know everything about both of them. Hmm.
Okay,
Okay,
for me,
I can start. Oh yeah, go.
I was going to say, given that we have recently heard that there's not been any discussions really between Wanyama and Montreal, I'm not optimistic that Wanyama will be sticking around, and certainly not as a DP if they choose to begin negotiations postseason. If they're not beginning negotiations already, then I feel like they're basically just going to be like, here's your offer, take it or leave it postseason.
Bit of a Camacho situation.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And I mean, that only works out so often, right?
Yeah.
And then as far as Kyoto, we had this conversation, I know, a few weeks ago about, what salary would we bring him back at, theoretically, right? And I mean, his output this season has been DP level, right? Compared to other players with similar statistics, most of those players are DPs. So I can understand the logic for sure, but I think kind of all of us said like Max Tam, given that he is kind of on that upper end of the age spectrum for a player.
Hady.
I think you can put them both as GP. First of all, we know that I don't think that Johnson's going to be here next year. So
I would die of shock. I will buy a kit with his name if he's still here.
So that's a salary that you're saving, right?
Yeah.
So that's I think 1.2 million, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So you're saving that, and if you're able to get Wanyama at a lower salary, you're able to raise Romel Kyoto's salary. So the DP tag is just. It's just a way for Olivier Renard. It's just a way of just playing with the rules, right? So it's not as important at what we see in other teams. So yes, they're able to be two DPs. So maybe Wanyama at 2 million instead of being paid 3 millions, and Kyoto at 1.1 or 1.2, because I think right now he's about 880 if I remember correctly. So you give him a raise of 200,000 and you still save some money, because you save money on Wanyama's salary and you save money on Johnson not being here. So no, I think it could be possible unless Olivier Renard, Vasily Kamanzidis, and everybody are looking for a very high-end replacement to Georgi Mihailovic, and that's something that will, I think, play in the decision to award a DP spot for Kyoto or Wanyama, or for both of them, or for one of them. I'm not sure. So I think it's a whole puzzle that they would need to solve. But again, I just want to say one last thing about all that. It's normal that negotiations haven't started yet. It's completely normal. They're concentrated on the season. Don't forget that in MLS, what's really nice about it, they finish the season in November.
Yeah,
they still have until the
month.
31st of December.
Yeah.
So the contract is here until the 31st of December. So there's no rush, because with Ignacio also would be out of contract possibly with I think an option.
Yeah.
Well, last we heard from Gabriel Gervais last week that they have talked to Wilfried Nancy. Thank God.
They have talked also with Victor Wanyama maybe 4 months ago also,
Yeah.
but they were far from reaching an agreement, right? So
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's normal right now. Just concentrate on the season, and I think, if Montreal goes far in the playoffs, maybe that will play for Olivier Renard, saying, you know what, we went that far. Imagine if we save $1 million on your contract and bring another player to replace Georgie of a better standard. Don't you want to be a part of this? That could be interesting.
Well, if I'm a player and we go far in the playoffs, I think my value as
I was gonna say, I think the ball's in my camp. Then.
Yeah, I think it's both. It's wait for both parties.
Yeah, it's wait for both. You're right.
But but there's one thing though that I hear it a lot. You said it, Hady, but a lot of people say that, and I'm not sure why people think that is that Wanyama would sign for a lower salary. He's done nothing to suggest that he deserves a lower salary. I know it's what people will talk about. It's his age. Now you're trying to project yourself in the future, saying, man, if we give 3 years to Wanyama, he's going to be about 33, 34. Well, he's going to be 34. Is he able to give us that production? But I mean, he's been a rock for us. Maybe not his first year, I agree, but since Wilfried Nancy has taken on the coaching job, man, he's been good. So why would Victor Wanyama settle for less than his salary? He's done so well.
Because he wants to stay in Montreal.
Yeah, but Piet also wants to stay in Montreal, and he refused to take a bargain, and it's good on him because you need to be paid what you deserve too. So I think you can't go in negotiating with a player trying to give a hometown bargain to certain players, and because don't forget, they're professional athletes. Their span of time to make a lot of money is very short.
Yeah.
So for sure he wants to stay in Montreal, but he won't want to stay in Montreal if you lowball him either. So I don't know, man. They're gonna be walking on. walking on eggs a bit negotiating with Victor because I know that they want him to stay for sure, but I know they don't want to overpay him either. So and he'll want to be paid. So it's gonna be interesting.
Definitely.
So will Victor Wanyama be back? I can't say. I'm sure that he will, and
Nobody knows.
nobody knows really. And I don't know, but Kyoto as a DP, I think you should give him maybe Johnson money and a DP tag, and you're good, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe a bit more even, because 1.5 even maybe 1.6, because he's so crucial in this team. But Kyoto is an easier answer to give
He's
than Wanyama.
31. He's 31 too.
Yeah,
huh?
but he's playing at the peak of his career, you know.
He's
So,
Yeah, but
playing
if you
his
give him
he's
3
playing his
years.
career best football.
Yeah, but if you give him 3 about Wanyama too, Wanyama has been amazing
well that
for us.
well
So,
that's the reason why you need to pay them higher than what they're doing right now, you know.
I don't know. I think you can play. Oh man, it's so difficult negotiations. You know, I'm so happy to not be a sporting director
Yeah.
because it's really too difficult. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah,
There we go.
and Andy's question. Andy hits us with: do you see Montreal signing another CPL player, seeing how things have turned out with Waterman?
Please, yes.
If they're
Yes.
not looking, then they're crazy.
Of
Please,
course.
yes.
I watched so much CPL this weekend, especially with EPL
good.
off this weekend. I'm telling you, there are so many fascinating players in that league. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you
No,
gotta
and
be
young.
looking.
And young players.
Young.
And
And
that's what's
young.
really interesting.
And
young
with-
Canadian players.
and
Play
you know-
the
Yes.
youth.
and we'll say it because it's a bit of a bad thing to say, but it's the reality is that these players won't cost a lot of money on their first contract. Look at what Joel Waterman is doing now.
It's
if
criminal.
they perform,
It's going to
I
be
know,
a bit more expensive than
bit
Joey Waterman
more,
now.
but no one's gonna jump from CPL to MLS doing 500K a year.
no.
So
For sure.
you know you have a span of maybe 3 years of contract that these players
Yeah.
are not going to be paid a lot of money. They
Yeah, you're
won't.
gonna pay on a transfer fee, maybe what 400,000, 500,000,
Not a lot,
and then you'll pay them, 100,000 or maybe 80,000 a year, 85,000 a year for 3 years, and
Whatever
they'll be very
the
happy.
league minimum is. Yeah.
Man, it's
It's
But
85
it's-
or 88.
It was 85-ish this year. Like, it's
Yeah,
always ending
yeah.
in some series of numbers. So, but yeah, no, for me, like, if you're not looking at CPL players, if you're any MLS team, period, like, even the US teams, even though a lot of the players would count as international for them,
Yeah, exactly.
if you're not looking at CPL players, like,
We lost Eve.
yeah, it's okay, no problem. The answer was good. Hady, go on with because there was the word this week that Chinonso 04 was loaned out, and he's loaned out without playing a minute for
Yeah.
Montreal. So hit us up with that, Hady.
Oh, listen, I think, but first of all, Olivier Renard said that it was a bargain for them to acquire a player like Chinonso 04 when he was acquired, but he said that it's not a project for this year, it's maybe for next year, or maybe he's playing a bit of Moneyball and knowing that he can get interest for him from outside MLS and maybe gain a bit of money. And you know what? That's exactly what they did. They loaned him to Zulte Waregem in the Belgium Pro League, so the first division in Belgium. And what's interesting is that everybody's like, you know what? He didn't play even a minute with Montreal. He wasn't up to standards in Chicago. How come he's going to go in the first league of Belgium and play? And Olivier Renard said something that's very interesting, that he knows the coach in Zulte Waregem, and he was told that he will get minutes. So he has a guarantee from the coach there, and he will get minutes there. And I think it's going to be very interesting to develop the player. And also, there's an option to buy at the end of that loan. So maybe we'll be able to make a bit of money out of this loan, and that's going to be very interesting. Now, we don't know if 04 is going to be good, but at the end of the day, you're not really losing anything. You're just loaning him. If he's good, perfect. They're going to maybe buy him. Now, the option to buy is very high, as per Olivier Renard. but they'll be able to negotiate maybe to buy him, and we'll make money. And if not, what's really nice is that at least he would have played a few minutes. He would have learned something from Europe, and he'd be back with us and give us that show us everything that he learned. So that's what's really nice about Ofor's deal. I think it's a very good deal for Montreal and for the player. As of right now, he's still training in Montreal because he's waiting for on some visa things. He has the approval of Zulte Waregem to train with Montreal before traveling. So we're waiting to see what's going to happen with Ofo. But I think very good news for Montreal to have a player there.
Yeah, good news and a creative move too by
Yeah.
Olivier Renard. That's interesting. We're done with Montreal. We'll jump to the Canadian women national team quickly with Eve because another game and another win for the ladies who went perfect in Australia. Eve.
Yeah, and this was a fantastic window for Adriana Leon, who scored all 3 goals for Canada. On the back of her signing for Manchester United, still in preseason mode even with them, so fantastic for her. In this match, Bev Priestman made 3 changes to her starting 11. So she put in Marie Lavasseur, Jade Rose, and the third was Desiree Scott in lieu of Julia Grosso, Sarah Yeka, and Janine Becky to start match. And Jade Rose, I think, is somebody we've talked about before on this pod. I am really high on her. She's only 19 years old. She captained the U20s at the U20 World Cup, and she definitely showed that she is head and shoulders above her peer group. And she showed the exact same again. So it was a 2-1 score. Mary Fowler got a goal in the 3rd minute. It was a really quick goal. It was really good interplay with Sam Kerr, who is, like I said, a world-class player for Chelsea, as we saw it. Canada nonetheless rebounded from that. They didn't offer up a lot of good quality chances to the Australians. And then, Christine Sinclair, who did kind of start in behind Jordan Heitzema once again in a deeper role, as Jessie Fleming also started a little bit deeper herself. She gave a great assist that Adriana Leon was able to tap in to equalize. And then in the second half, if you have not seen the highlight, please go watch the highlight of Jade Rose with that through ball to...
I saw it.
You
Amazing.
saw that? Good.
Yeah,
Was that not a phenomenal pass?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that's breaking the lines, like they say.
No, it was an excellent pass. Completely line-breaking pass, and Leon was clearly awake to it. She scored a world-class goal. So overall, I think it was really great World Cup prep. Great for them to get that travel under their belts as well, given that that's where they'll be playing in 2023 for the World Cup. So overall, I think a resounding success. Bev Priestman did get a chance to look at a few more faces than she had previously called in, and should be also good for Canada. Australia are ranked 12th in FIFA, so they are definitely a top tier opponent.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know what? I wasn't able to watch the games, unfortunately, because, as you know, I was on holidays, so I wasn't able to watch at all. But, looking at the results, it's very interesting. And what Yves has told us also is even more interesting. And also, Australia is always a very, very tough team. And Sam Kerr for me is everything, right? So
Mary Fowler, who scored, she plays for Manchester City. Also a world-class club.
Yeah, exactly. So very, very interesting to see Canada win those 2 games.
Yeah, no, I was really thrilled.
Of course. Guys, I think we're done for... Oh, no, we have a question by a very, very good question by Mathieu Lemay.
Yeah.
Yes, Mathieu Lemay, which falls into this spectrum.
Yes, absolutely. He says, even with the Canadian women national team needs for goals, why do we think Evelyn Viens, who just scored 4 and can score everywhere she goes, by the way, it was at club level, just to not get any confusion, is still not considered by Bev Priestman Bev Priestman into the selection. And we've talked about this a bit, but I think it's even more pertinent now because she's just doing better and better. So why isn't she ever called up?
Honestly, like, it's kind of weird because Gabrielle Carl plays for the same team, and she only got called up after, the swath of defensive injuries that happened. So I don't know if Bev Priestman perhaps looks at the Swedish league as less, even though honestly the Swedish women's league is highly competitive. But I'm running out of reasons for why, unless something occurred in a camp. I'm running out of reasons for why.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Eve. And don't forget that Beth Friesman watches the Swedish league because Stephanie Labbe was playing there and Sabrina D'Angelo was playing there. So there's a few team players in that team that played in the Swedish league. So I think it's something that happened during training camp. Maybe if Vivian didn't gel with the group,
Or like
I'm
a
not really
disagreement
sure.
or what have you.
Disagreement or whatever it is, or and Beth Friesen said it at one point that she didn't take her chance. Whenever she was given a
Yeah.
chance, as per Beth Friesman, she wasn't good enough. And for me, it's hard because that player, Evelyn Vian is now proving that she has the quality to be a good part and a good player for that team. And I hope she'll get a chance again because 4 goals in a game, whatever the league you're playing in, that means that you have quality, and I think you deserve a call up.
Uh, and I remember the last time she was asked the question by Priestman, her answer was very vague, and she didn't look really happy to answer that question. So it makes me wonder maybe if like you say, guys, there is something maybe
Yeah.
a bit more fishy than just technical or tactical
Yeah.
reasons. These are the type of things that we'll maybe never know. But if Evelyn Vien continues on that form and doesn't get called up now, that
There's
might
no
be inclined for
chance.
more answers, more
Yeah.
questions. But will we get the answers? That's the other thing. So, I mean, Matthew's question is good because it's very pertinent to the situation right now. But who knows? I don't have an answer on a technical
No.
level.
No.
Absolutely
And
not.
we want to know as well, I
Of
think, the
course,
answer.
of course.
And
Yeah.
then for people that are thinking about Canada soccer not liking Québécois and everything, please do not go there because we do have Lisiane Prou, we do have Bianca Saint Georges that are being called. So there are Quebecers within that team.
Oh, and Bianca St. Georges did fantastic this window, by the
Yeah,
way.
she's really good.
She had an excellent window.
Nice.
Both performances. She really owned that right back spot. So
Nice.
really
Nice.
cool to see because Jade Rose unfortunately looks like she's going to be sidelined for quite a while.
Jade Rivière, I mean.
Yes, Jade Rivière, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. I just wanted to
Very
make sure.
interesting, guys.
My apologies. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So, guys, I think we're off to part 2 and social media.
Yes.
Eve,
we
you got it,
are.
right?
Imagine if I said no. Yeah. Yeah, I
we
do.
just end the show right
I
here,
would
so
just
it's
mess
okay.
with, just messing with you.
Hey, don't forget to our animation, guys.
Dude, my mouse is right on it. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh, you wanted it. You got it.
I
That's it.
wanted it. I
You
didn't
got
have
it.
it for the tactical genius.
I will have no, but it was like not as tactical that time that
Yeah,
what
well.
Sam did.
I like my
But
animation.
I will have
not
you know, I will have you know, we did that last
Nice,
episode.
Nice.
So there, yeah, okay, feel better, rest easy. All right, so our first tweet today is from Gaetano. And he says, "It seems to me that Mark Anthony Kay is playing himself off the Canada men's national team squad with every appearance." So we saw a little bit of him, obviously, in the match from Montreal versus Toronto, and then he also played with Toronto last night. He came in as a sub. I don't know if either of you saw any of that particular match. No worries if you didn't. But nonetheless, it has not been conclusive during his time with Toronto so far.
No, and not always conclusive with the national team either. So that opens the door. It kind of cements Piet's position, I think, for Qatar, and makes you wonder if maybe Ismail Kone could be more than just an outside up chance.
Nah, I don't think so. He lost his place in Montreal, so I don't know why he would get the call up.
I never got
I
his
don't
place.
forget.
Really, I'm not sure.
Sorry.
Never really won his place in Montreal for the
Exactly.
beginning. To be
But he
honest,
was at the beginning of the year. I think the first 15
Yeah.
games he was a starter, right? So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But nonetheless, with Mark Anthony Kay, like, falling out, like you said, or at least as most people see it, it seems as though he's falling out of form for sure.
yeah.
Along with Sam Piet, do you think there are any other players who that might open the door for?
Good
I
question.
don't know. Harry Patton with Ross County?
No,
I'm not sure. No, it doesn't look like it, huh?
No, he's no,
No,
just
you
no.
know, yeah, I know.
No.
I know he had
No.
some problems.
Yeah.
Some legal troubles.
Yeah.
Yes, so no, I don't think we should be even like talking about him.
Maybe the return of Witherspoon. I don't know if
Yes,
he's still
he's back
sidelined
from
or-
he's back from injury. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have Witherspoon that could be back. You have Tyler Pasher. I don't think so because he's not playing
Different
much.
position. Yeah, well,
And-
no, he's not with the club right
He
now
could
because
play- Yeah, Pasher can play like 6 positions. So.
true, but yeah, no, he's not even with the club right now. Actually, I don't
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Because New York Red Bulls released him really quickly.
exactly.
So you know what? He's probably gonna go to Mark Anthony Kay, but now it's the question is the pecking order, what it's gonna look like, and but I'm honestly I can't really envision a situation. I was thinking about Kone, but I can't really see a thing like Mark Anthony Kay wouldn't go to Qatar anyways. He
Yeah,
was,
me neither.
he was very very present in qualifying, and John Herdman does have something with a certain hierarchy in the dressing room, and some players have their place even through lesser performances. So I'm not too worried about Mark Anthony Kay being in Qatar.
Same.
Fair enough.
Same.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess we'll see. And probably, we should be seeing the friendly lineup or the friendly squads dropping pretty soon.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. So maybe that might even also tell us some stuff. All right. Moving on. We have Edward Hansing Wong. So he's actually brought our attention to a statement put out by Jade Riviere. And in this statement, Jade Riviere announced that her 2022 season is over. She will not be able to play at the NCAA level this season due to the lower body injury that she's been carrying for a little while. So he said, a real shame that Jade Riviere is injured for the rest of the season, but what a class message. Excited to see where her career takes her next. So I'm not going to read the whole statement just because it is rather long. But she stated that she does plan to continue her studies, and then she hopes that afterwards she can go pro. But how much does this suck?
That's a tough break, especially seeing the opportunities that these players at NCAA levels have. Look at Julia Grosso, who jumped from NCAA to Juventus. So she was probably eyeing a big move in Europe, probably, and now it's a setback. But you know what?
I mean, she's captain of her team as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but there is something very interesting with the system in the United States is that now she can just continue school, and that's a thing that's important for these athletes too. You have to think of your after career, and the fact that she will, go forward with her studies can just help her for later on. So it's it sucks, but something positive is gonna happen in the same time. So I mean,
But she's a tough kid, right? So I'm not really afraid for her. She's really tough, and I'm pretty sure that she's gonna be back. She's gonna be better than what she was, and she's gonna learn a lot from that injury. Yes, it sucks, but she's gonna learn a lot from that injury. I'm pretty sure she's gonna come back stronger.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. And hopefully, it doesn't impede her pro dreams at all.
no.
Yeah. Alrighty, moving along. Next, we have something really cool. So this is a corn maze in New Brunswick,
Whoa.
from the region from which I sort of indirectly hail, if you will. So this came to my attention via Signa Butler, who tweeted it online, who's also a sports commentator, now I think with CBC. But anyway, so Canada Soccer tweeted this out. It's the Hunts Brothers Farm in Florenceville, New Brunswick. And this year they did their corn maze with Christine Sinclair, they're the number 12, and Alfonso Davies, the number 19. Playing goalkeeper, it might appear, but nonetheless. Along with the Canada Soccer logo. And so this is like a corn maze that, for context, a lot of people in the East Coast go to visit this. Like it's a big fall tradition to go to the corn maze and walk through it and stuff like that. They have other activities there and picking stuff and whatnot. But anyway, just is this big activity. So I saw this and I was like, oh, that's East Coast. I got to tweet it because, as Signa said, East Coast fans go the extra kilometer.
Nice. Really interesting. It's beautiful.
It's really cool.
And it shows the growth of the game in Canada.
Yeah.
True. But man, that has to be long doing all of that. And how do you not make a mistake? Like,
I don't know.
Crazy, man.
You have a drone, man.
Wow.
You have a drone.
Like a laser.
You have a drone and you look, okay, I need to cut here more.
Well, I don't know. How did they make crop circles? Let me put my tinfoil hat on.
These mysteries you never know.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next up, we have Matthew Weber. So Matthew Weber is quoting a tweet a quote from Caleb Porter's press conference. So the Crew's coach. And the quote was, "We're on the road playing, in my opinion, the best team in the league." So, what do we think of this take? Good take, bad take, hot take?
Coming from a very successful coach like Caleb Porter, for people who don't know, he's the one that won the MLS Cup with the Timbers, the Porter Timbers, and with the Columbus Crew a couple of years ago. So coming from such a successful coach, it's really interesting to hear that, and it shows that the tremendous amount of respect that he has for Wilfried Nancy and what he has built. Now, is it the best team in the league? I think it's
still Philadelphia. For me, it's Philadelphia, the best team in the league.
Philadelphia, LAFC are better than Montreal,
period.
in my opinion, and even maybe Austin sometimes. But Montreal is up there in the top 4 or 5 of the teams in the league. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm not too sure about that statement, but it's cool. It's cool, but coaches sometimes will say stuff to the media for only they know why they say that. But
Mathieu came at us with this comment. Did Porter say this so we overlook what he said? Yeah. What did he say during the halftime break?
He said, the journalist asked him a question. I don't remember the question, but his answer was not about the question. He just said, well, I'm just wondering if the referee is Canadian. Because looking at how he's refereeing, he seems Canadian.
Oh, he's going to get a fine.
Well, just imagine what he thought of the referee after the game. If he was feeling that way at halftime.
No, but it was a red card, period.
Oh, no, but he said it. I don't know if you heard the presser. He said that he went very hard on Luis Diaz.
That I missed, but...
Yeah. No, he was like, you cannot show undiscipline like this, and he wasn't complaining about the referee for that red card.
He was maybe trying to redeem himself because he really said that at halftime, and that's not.
He's gonna get a fine.
Is biased or cheating is
finable. Don Garber's not gonna be pleased.
No.
It's very easy for us to say that. Is the referee American? He's always American.
Well, he was an American, by the way. So.
No, but all I'm saying is that excuse, we can use it every game.
Yeah.
If we wanted to, right?
Yeah.
The one time Drew Fisher refs us or
exactly.
maybe, but otherwise they're all Americans. So
yeah. Oh my. He is though. Caleb Porter is like a spicy coach in like pressers and stuff.
Yeah.
But not as much as the old what's his name, the South Lake coach.
Mike Petke. Mike Petke.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
Oh no, he left in disgrace.
I know.
Bad circumstances.
I
recall him telling Troy to get his printer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
I think I made my mom watch that with me, like completely out of context. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Alrighty, and our final tweet. This tweet, I'm not gonna lie, I just picked it because it made me smile. So this one's in French, so I'm gonna take the liberty of tweeting it. Says my moment of the match for CF Montreal. My son, who tapped me on the shoulder after the second goal and showed me his goosebumps while saying, "Dad, I have chills. The ambiance is so crazy. The atmosphere is so crazy." A moment forever engraved into our memories. That is the game.
That's amazing.
Isn't that like really nice and beautiful? Like that was so beautiful.
That's the new generation of fans, right? We're
Yeah.
breeding a new generation of fans with those moments. So that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
beautiful.
no, I love that. I love that. He got to experience that with his son. Like that's the kind of thing that I would like to experience. I know I'm a grown woman here, but like for me, I'd love to experience that with my mom, and I'm gonna like try and convince her to come if Montreal's hosting a playoff game. I'm gonna try
Of course,
my
yeah, she
damnedest
needs
to
to
convince
be
her to come.
I would love to experience that with my son. So
Yeah.
hopefully it will come. A day will come where he's going to be old enough to sit the whole game and watch soccer. He's too young still. But yeah, that's something that I'm definitely really looking forward to. And hopefully we'll be able to live those kinds of games, me and him.
It's bonding moments, eh? It's a lot of
Exactly.
emotion in a short moment of time, so people bond really quickly. I just so it's awesome. I just look, where I'm sitting. We're all season ticket holders, and everyone speaks to everyone. Everyone's like friends with everyone, and we don't know each other. Probably if it wasn't for the stadium, you meet that people in the street and they don't even look at you, but now because you shared these moments and you shared the frustrations, the joys, and now you're friends with them. So now it's cool. It's that's what football does.
Yeah, indeed. No, I really liked it. I'm really happy to see that, and I hope a lot of other people got to experience that feeling with whomever they went to the game with.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that wraps it up for social media.
Wraps it up for us, guys. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Hady. It was really fun talking soccer tonight with you guys.
Yeah, it was, as usual. Very, very fun.
Indeed.
Thanks for everybody that showed up today. There was a lot of people that listened to the show, and thanks a lot for being here with us.
And
I
everyone
appreciate all the comments.
Yeah, comments, questions. We love it, man. That's what makes our show fun, is that you guys participate and are in there. So thank you so much to everyone who was there.
Guys, next week's our 100th episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're jumping to triple digits next week. It's gonna be Sunday at 6:30, and we're still working on it. Hady?
Yeah, I just want to say, it's a very emotional milestone, I think, for us reaching the 100th episode, and that's the 100th episode of The Ball Is Round, and that project started as Soccer by Paul and Hady before.
Yeah.
And I just want to say hi to Paul Vance, who started all this with me. And, you guys, jumped in, and now we created something else. It's something different. It's something as amazing. It's been a whole journey. Goosebumps right there. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. And hopefully we can make it very, very interesting for all our fans, for everybody that listens to us. So we're working on that. So I'll let you continue, Sam. You were saying that we're working on that to make it very interesting.
Yeah, we know it's Sunday at 6:30 next Sunday, but we're not exactly sure of how it's gonna be. But stay tuned. We'll hit you up with updates during the week. Until then, guys, take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday for episode 100 of The Ball Is On. Take care, everyone.